not a joke, but it's also about like, what is it, you know? Like, you just write art on it. Is it art? It's more of a question. Graphically, the visual world of Poetic is like centered around art. Almost in every drop there's something that is abstract painting too, you know? And also to challenge that, to be like, when people are always like, oh, what is the logo? It's like a classic. Is it like three rivers? Is it like a body moving? It's an abstract logo, you know? It kind of represents the flow of an abstract painting, you know? So the visual world in Poetic circles around abstract art, and also with references to art history and other art movements. Should I show you some of the stuff then?
It's above the fridge, of course, but all the best stuff.
So like, here's where board graphics starts, kind of.
Poetic Collective.
Like, you see, I'm not always like the best with taking care of the artwork, but we'll see. This is like a lot of collage stuff. This one we used for a board. These were two boards that came out in the last drop. These are basically, it's a painting in the background that I made, and then I go to a lot of like flea markets and pick up like a lot of old photography books. This is like news clippings from like 50s, 60s, 70s, and it can be like, all right, this piece is nice or something, and that's kind of how, yeah, here you see like things having been torn out, like parts of it. So not taking complete things, but maybe just surfaces from old photos or something. This was a t-shirt, like a back for a t-shirt too. It's just so funny, it's just different surfaces from skate mags. They've probably torn up some of your mags too. This one also is for the new job. It's like a double board, so we split this painting. This also became a board, scanned and scaled up. Here, this is the board in the window. It's funny because it's like leftover when I was trying out the colors for a painting, and it ended up being better just than the actual painting. So it's made on the back of an old poster. This was a board too. In the beginning, when I started doing these, I was taping to kind of remove the tape to have like a line, but then I liked this like our packing tape, and we started scanning that, and it's like a nice way to work the logo into some graphics.
This is like a collage on the board. That one is scanned up there in the middle.
We've done some Renaissance boards and then just collage series, and kind of challenge yourself in that way. Because it would also be boring, but it just everything looks like this. I really enjoy like just sitting for a long time with like a charcoal drawing. And that's kind of like more what I was doing in my own like art practice when I was like in the art academy. Poetic was kind of more of an output for doing like abstract, just messing around, you know, getting out that's not like locked into like, oh, I'm working on this exhibition. And then in the end, Poetic turned out to be what I do today. It's all about like, all right, board graphics, prints, like for shirts, like it's gone more in that direction, but I have a need for a creative output, you know, and Poetic gives the outlet for me. It gives me, through editing videos, through creating graphics, working on clothes, it's all part of that same need. Running a skateboard company, like I'm directed towards my own community. And all my friends are skaters. I skate every day. I kind of release these things into a community where I also exist. Whereas with fine arts, a lot of times that you create something, you work on an exhibition, and then on the opening, you know, if you look around, the people that come to a gallery and buy art, it's not like my community, you know. Poetics has not been built on like one big name. It's not like we signed Nigel here and he's like gonna bring the brand to a whole other level. But it's more about like this group of people that's skating and the collective effort, like just like skating. So I wasn't focused on pro boards. But then with time, a pro board, I mean, it's something for the person, of course, that gets their name on the board to elevate them and can help them in different ways. And I think that's also like kind of why we stepped into doing pro boards too. But I also try to work on those with the pros, so it's not like a board series with just like names on. but make sure that, I mean, Helena Long did like her last pro board was like, it was part of my artwork that she wanted to have, and then a drawing of a cafe like outside of her apartment in London. She was drawing that cafe every day during lockdown and like had all these drawings. My approach to it is that it's an artwork, you know. I create artworks and they land on skateboards. And maybe that's what differentiates Poetic Collective from other skateboard companies. Because a lot of times I think people work on it as more like graphic design, like a layout on a board, you know. But because it does contain that element too, you know, when you end up like positioning it and everything. But my approach to it is like very hands-on. It's very analog, you know. I work on paper, and then I sit with the other guys here. Like I'm not that technically skilled. I sit with Marcus and Paul, and just like we scan the artwork, positioning, looking at like what part works, you know. What one person will like, another will dislike. And I mean, personally, I always think that for someone to kind of like something, others have to dislike it too, you know. Otherwise, it's too flat, you know. If I just see something and I feel nothing, then it's worse than me seeing something and be like, I really hate this. I mean, skateboarding, it's very common. Like someone does something and there's like 50 pages like thread on Slack, you know, about how bad it is, and then I'm like, damn, like this person really accomplished something, you know. They provoked a lot of opinions. It's good because it makes you feel something. Like there's so much visual output like in the world, and most of it you just scroll and you feel nothing, you know. With abstract art, it's the classic comment that people are like, oh, I could do that, or like my 2-year-old could do that, you know. And I'm like, yeah, like they could, you know, for sure. It's not about actually like how you create it. A lot of times it's about finding and stopping when it's good. That's one of the hardest things. Classic Poetic, it's like an abstract painting series of boards or something. But then, I mean, recently there's been more collage boards than too, because it's been something that I've been into. And then other times it can be like, all right, we're gonna like try working with like 16th century paintings, like still life, and combine that. I mean, some of the best things I think that we've done with Poetic is kind of when like classic art, maybe like a still life painting meets like a streetwear item or something. That's kind of, or that's when like something happens for me, you know. It's that meeting between skateboarding culture and fine art. You have to take yourself serious and also not, you know, be like, in the end of the day, it's skateboard graphics, you know. You take it seriously, you work with it, but also have a distance towards it. I think it's the same with skating. It's like such a large part of my life, you know. So in one way it's super serious, and also sometimes you roll around and you have to be like, yeah, I'm like a grown man, like on a wooden toy, you know. Like it's also just like fun and games, you know.